Buongiorno. Hi, I'm Lee White, and I have the privilege of being the Executive Director at the IFRS Foundation. First of all, I'd like to thank the CNDCC for their kind invitation for me to participate via this recording at the conference. Thank you. And secondly, I'd like to wish all of you the very best success and engagement at the conference. Much success to you. So I have a few minutes to give you a sense around what has been occurring, but more importantly, what will be occurring with the IFRS Foundation and our particular focus around sustainability reporting. But before I get there, I'd also like to recognise and acknowledge the strong support that we have had from Italy over the 20 years or so that the IFRS Foundation and the IASB has been operating. And it would be really amiss of me not to recognise that substantial contribution that has come in many different ways from Italy. So I'd like to recognise that and thank you. So to sustainability reporting, and really to give this snapshot of looking ahead, I do go back, albeit very briefly, to COP26 in November of last year. It was at COP that we did our announcements regarding the creation of the Sustainability Standards Board and certain other aspects to do with what would be occurring during the course of 2022 and beyond. So let me just give you a snapshot here. First and foremost is that the full complement of 14 board members has been announced for the Sustainability Standards Board. And that full complement has meant since July, the board has had a sufficient membership to meet and will continue to meet on a monthly basis. Now, if you're interested in seeing the papers, seeing the actual recordings or live of the board, you can access all of those materials on the foundation, our foundation's website. So getting yourself engaged in the mechanics of what the board is doing is something I would at least encourage because it's such a formative time for the board. Secondly, at COP, we announced the release of what we described at that time as two prototypes, one on general requirements disclosures and the second on climate-related disclosures. Now, since COP, we've been going through a process of exposure drafts and consultation on those exposure drafts. The consultation concluded in July of this year, the end of July. And since then, we have been doing the analysis of the responses to those exposure drafts. We received 1,400, in excess of 1,400 responses, which was meaning that our August into September has been an incredibly demanding period on our staff doing the analysis of those responses. And we're now at a critical point where the board is doing its consideration of the feedback, considering what its approach would be to re-deliberations. I don't have time to go into the detail of those today, but again, for those interested, you would find all of this information on our website as well. But importantly, we are taking steps over the next few months for the board to conclude its thinking, its analysis, its re-deliberations in order to finalise those exposure drafts into the first two standards to be issued by the Sustainability Standards Board. Exciting, but also a very intense time in terms of all the work that needs to be done. Now, where do we go through once those standards are issued? We are working with IOSCO, the securities regulators, to hopefully receive endorsement by IOSCO of those two standards. And in that way, that will signal that we can then engage with different jurisdictions, including Italy, about how those standards will be adopted within each jurisdiction. And importantly here, colleagues, is our light on the hill. What we're seeking to do is to put in place a global baseline of sustainability standards then can be used in all jurisdictions around the globe to give that sense of consistency of reporting and comparable information for investors' needs. After that, the board at the same time will be also starting its consideration of processes regarding what we would describe as their agenda consultation. Now, many of you would be familiar with the work of the ISB and its agenda consultation. It will be a similar style of approach, but one that will need to be calibrated in light of the newness of the freshness of the sustainability reporting landscape and the pace of which all of this is starting to develop. In the last few minutes, I thought I would just spend a little bit of time with you to conclude by encouraging all of you to consider, in light of the pace of what's developing with sustainability reporting, and I should add the likelihood of assurance on that reporting, what is the role that you could play? Now, you will all be coming from different parts, whether you're a preparer, an issuer, in practice, etc. But I think importantly, getting yourself up to speed with what the work of the Sustainability Standards Board is doing, starting to engage and thinking either in your own organisations or with your clients about this form of reporting, how you can start to assist in the transition for organisations who are strictly more doing their financial reporting and starting to add the sustainability reporting to that. It's an important part too, colleagues, to understand there is natural points of intersection between the financial statements and the sustainability reporting, and how those two actually align is going to be an important part in the developments here as well. I think as well, as I mentioned, that there's still much work to be done in terms around the approach of assurance, but that will be also an integral part to the success of sustainability reporting, because the rigor and the importance of assurance is essential to, again, this sense of consistency of reporting and global comparable information. I would like to conclude then by again reiterating the appreciation from the Foundation to all of the support that we've received from Italy, to wish you great success in your conference, and also to thank you in advance for all of the support that the Foundation will receive with financial reporting in the future and our sustainability reporting going forward. Thank you.